In this video, let us discuss about service transition. This module describes some of the key principles of service transition that will enable service providers to plan and implement best practice in service transition. The purpose of the service transition stage of the service lifecycle is to ensure that new, modified, or retired services meet the expectations of the business as documented in the service strategy and service design stages of the lifecycle. Service transition, session overview and objectives. By the end of this session, you'll be able to define service transition goals, objectives, and how it adds value to the business. List 7 different service transition processes. Define service transition and support goals, objectives, and benefits. Explain service validation and testing. Describe service asset and configuration management (SACM) and its key terminologies. Describe change evaluation. Define release and deployment management goals, objectives, and how it adds value to the business. Describe change management. Describe knowledge management. Some of these processes are used throughout the service lifecycle, but are addressed in this module since they're central to effective service transition. The other processes and activities are mostly contained within the service transition stage of the lifecycle, but are also made use of in other stages, for example, change evaluation of the service design and performance testing within service operation. Service transition scope. Service transition provides guidance for the development and improvement of capabilities for transitioning new and changed services into supported environments, including release planning, building, testing, evaluation, and deployment. The publication also considered service requirement and transfer of services between service providers. The guidance focuses on how to ensure that the requirements from service strategy developed in service design are effectively realized in service operation, while controlling the risks of failure and subsequent disruption. Consideration is given to managing the complexity associated with changes to services and service management processes, allowing for innovation while minimizing the unintended consequences of change. Introducing new services, changes to existing services, e.g. expansion, reduction, change of supplier, acquisition or disposal of sections of user base or suppliers, change of requirements or skills availability. Decommissioning and discontinuation of services, applications or other service components. Transferring services to and from other service providers. Guidance on transferring the control of services includes transfer in the following circumstances. Out to a new supplier, e.g. outsourcing from one supplier to another. Back in from a supplier, e.g. insourcing moving to a partnership or co-sourcing arrangement, e.g. partial outsourcing of some processes. Multiple suppliers, e.g. co-sourcing or multi-sourcing joint venture downsizing, upsizing, right-sizing, and offshoring, merger and acquisition. In reality, circumstances generate a combination of several of the above options at any one time and in any one situation. The scope also includes the transition of changes in the service provider's service management capabilities that will impact on the ways. The processes described in ITIL service transition can be categorized into 2 groups, based on the extent to which process activities take place within the service transition stage of the service lifecycle. Processes with significant activities throughout the service lifecycle. The first group. They are processes that are critical during the service transition stage, but influence and support all stages of the service lifecycle. These comprise of change management, service asset and configuration management, knowledge management. Processes which have most of their activities in the service transition stage of the service lifecycle. The second group. They are processes that are strongly focused within the service transition stage, transition planning and support, release and deployment management, service testing and validation, change evaluation. Some activities of all service transition processes may be carried out during the service design stage of the service lifecycle. For example, design of a release package or planning of a service transition. The figure shows all of the processes described in ITIL service transition. Processes that are largely within the service transition stage of the service lifecycle are shown within the central rectangle. The other stages of the service lifecycle that come before and after these processes are shown in the smaller, darker rectangles. Service transition goal. Service transition provides guidance for the development and improvement of capabilities for transitioning new and changed services into live service operation. Effective service transition can significantly improve a service provider's ability to handle high volumes of change and releases across its customer base. Any change, like change of supplier, change in the way we manage service, or even retirement of services, are handled as part of service transition. In addition to that, service transition describes best practice in transition planning and support, change management, service asset and configuration management, release and deployment management, service validation and testing, change evaluation and knowledge management. It provides guidance on managing the complexity related to changes to services and service management processes, preventing undesired consequences while allowing for innovation. Service transition also introduces the Service Knowledge of Management system, which can support organizational learning and help to improve the overall efficiency and effectiveness of all stages of the service lifecycle. This will enable people to benefit from the knowledge and experience of others, support informed decision-making, and improve the management of services. Service transition objectives. Resource management. Transition planning and support manages the resources across the service transition phase, minimize impact on production environment, change management, service validations and testing. Release and deployment processes ensures that a complete testing is required before any new release is pushed onto the production and the changes are successful. Increase satisfaction of transition experience. A smooth transition always delivers smiles in the operations, hence increased satisfaction. Who would not love to have things in place? Plan and management service changes efficiently and effectively. Manage risks relating to new, changed or retired services. Successfully deploy service releases into supported environments. Set correct expectations on the performance and use of new or changed services. Ensure that service changes create the expected business value. Provide good quality knowledge and information about services and service assets. Every service provider should agree and document policies that are appropriate for their circumstances and in alignment to these objectives. Endorsement and visible support from senior management contribute to the overall effectiveness. Service transition, business values, competitive edge, ability to adapt quickly to new requirements and market developments. Transition management facilitates management of acquisitions, mergers, demergers, and transfer of services. Increase success rate of changes and releases for the business. Improve predictions of service levels and warranties for new and changed services. Selecting and adopting the best practices as recommended for service transition in this module will assist organizations in delivering significant benefits. It will help to set up service transition and the processes that support it, and to make effective use of those processes to facilitate the effective transitioning of new, changed, or decommissioned services. Service transition processes. Transition planning and support, TPS. Service validation and testing, SVT. Change evaluation. Release and deployment management, change management, service asset and configuration management, knowledge management. These processes ensure that the value identified in the service strategy and encoded in service design are effectively transitioned so that they can be realized in service operation. Some of these processes are used throughout the service lifecycle, but they're explained in detail in this module since they're central to effective service transition. Transition planning and support. Goal. The purpose of the transition planning and support process is to provide overall planning for service transitions and to coordinate the resources that they require. Service transition planning and support process ensures the orderly transition of a new or modified service into production, together with the necessary adaptations to the service management processes. The service transition planning and support process must incorporate the service design and operational requirements within the transition planning. Transition planning and support has two sets of objectives: planning and coordination, standardization and improvement. It is important to note here, transition planning and support is not responsible for detailed planning of the build, test and deployment of individual changes or releases. These activities are carried out as part of change management and release and deployment management. Transition planning and support. Objectives. The objectives of transition planning and support are to plan and coordinate the resources to ensure that the requirements of service strategy encoded in service design are effectively realized in service operation. Coordinate activities across projects, suppliers and service teams where required. Establish new or changed services into supported environments within the predicted cost, quality and time estimates. Establish new or modified management information systems and tools, technology and management architectures, service management processes, and measurement methods and metrics to meet requirements established during the service design stage of the life cycle. Ensure that all parties adopt the common framework of standard reusable processes and supporting systems in order to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of the integrated planning and coordination activities. Provide clear and comprehensive plans that enable customer and business change projects to align their activities with the service transition plans. Identify, manage and control risks to minimize the chance of failure and disruption across transition activities and ensure that service transition issues, risks and deviations are reported to the appropriate stakeholders and decision makers. Monitor and improve the performance of the service transition lifecycle stage. Transition planning and support. Benefits. A well-managed transition planning and support process will deliver the following benefits to an IT service provider. Consistency in the service transition activities through the utilization of accepted set of policies, standards and models. Increased ability to manage multiple transitions at the same time. Management and deliberate prioritization of resources required by various projects and change activities, resulting in cost efficiencies as well as continual alignment with changing business objectives. Future budget and resource requirements for service transition are anticipated and procured cost effectively, avoiding expensive last-minute decisions. Transition planning and support benefits. Effective transition planning and support can significantly improve a service provider's ability to handle high volumes of change and releases across its customer base. An integrated approach to planning improves the alignment of the service transition plans with the customer, supplier, and business change project plans. Service design coordination will, in collaboration with customers, external and internal suppliers, and other relevant stakeholders, develop the service design and document it in a service design package, SDP. It is an output of service design which feeds into service transition. Service design packages will be created or updated for all major changes. This could include implementation of new service management processes or tools, or replacement of old infrastructure components, as well as release of new or changed services and decommissioning or retiring assets or services.